Greetings, and welcome back to Ghana Gamers. We're a family of gamers in Ghana that loves anime and comics in the gaming space. We're continuing with our Vampire D showcase here and going through Veteran Vateshran Hollows. Now, this is the last of the three color sections you have to go through. This is the green section. So we're going to show you the first mini boss, and then we're going to show you the main boss. The first mini boss is the plant boss, and you basically have to just kill these little lurchers. But the thing is, she moves the spirit between each of these lurkers, so one of them is invincible. It only starts off as one, but then it multiplies to three. And I guess it can get overwhelming, but no matter really what you use, this isn't that difficult of a fight, honestly. Especially with this build. As always, remember we are using Unleashed Terror, that set, so that every time we charge, we're reducing the health of the target as well as putting a nasty little bleed on them. And secondly, we're using Oblivion's Edge, which gives massive weapon damage and spell damage, as well as filling a soul gem and healing us per enemy kill. So, as you can see, this fight is pretty basic. It's not a very long fight, and real simplistic in its nature. Stay out of his pizza slices and just keep your dots on him. That's all you really got to do. So as you see, I'm just working him down. Make sure you keep cleave up. Again, I'm not really that great of a player. Don't claim to be. And so this really works for me because it's ease of use. All I have to do is charge, put 3 stacks of cleaves on it, and I'm pretty much good to go. Now, as you see right there, she is just switched her spirit from that first lurcher over to this one over here. So you got to stop attacking that lurcher. And the only real danger here is the fire, honestly. The AoEs and all other stuff, because of the race we have going on here, this is a Nord, to try to mimic Vampire G sturdiness. And because of the health points we have here, it really isn't a problem with the basic attacks. The little poison attacks, the AoEs, all that stuff doesn't really hurt, honestly. Even on Veteran, it's just a fire. If you catch all 3 of them at one time, I guess it can kind of hurt. But every time I'm killing a little puppy or I'm killing a plant, I'm getting a heal. So, again, it's not really that much of a threat. You have to make sure you have to keep your buff on her, because you can't do damage to these mobs if you don't have her buff. And her buff will come off if you let one of these Spriggans channel you. They'll remove it from you. So then you have to go and go kill another Spriggan to get the buff again and keep going. Like you see right here, I'm sitting there whacking at this thing and I don't have the buff. So now I have to go off, kill a Spriggan, reacquire the buff, and then commence to damaging the boss once again. Now you can stop this just by interrupting the Spriggan as it's channeling on you, but I missed that. Just tumbling, not paying attention, which I'll do from time to time. And again, all the little bonuses, little buffs around here, they're free. There's no penalty for using them, so use them at will. So I chose to pick up the health one just to pick it up, I guess. I should have picked up the damage one, but whatever. And so we have this boss down, and I have to find the right boss again because he's moved the spirit to this one over here. And this fight can honestly be done in about 3 or 4 minutes. I probably took maybe 5 minutes. Just because my own personal shortcomings as a gamer here in ESO. But it's a really quick fight, honestly. And then there's the example of that channel. I'm going to catch it this time, not have to waste time and go kill another one again. Back on the boss. And Dawnbreaker works really good with this build, simply because it not only applies a dot damage over time, a dot, which this build really focuses on, but it also gives weapon damage just for being slotted. So that plus Camouflage Hunter, I'm getting 6% extra weapon damage just for having those 2 abilities slotted. Great bonus, like having, another couple hundred weapon damage on me. And I done rolled myself out here with my stamina. So I got to get it back up. A few heavy attacks. This is why it's important to keep your heavy attack weave into this going on here, which I failed at in my rotation again. But if you do that, you won't have any stamina issues really. Because I mean, we're rocking at like maybe 24, 2,500 stamina recovery, so that's not really an issue. Now the second boss here is the Minotaur. And this boss took a little longer, not because of difficulty, but because of Zoss. And I wanted to take this time while we have this going on to explain some of my frustrations here. So yesterday, Zoss released this year-long event reveal. And in that reveal, we got High Isle, which is an island chain and a Breton, racial quest line. Okay? They're going to release 2 new dungeons, 2 more companions, as well as some type of card game. Now, I appreciate the more dungeons. I absolutely do. However, I didn't ask for the card game. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't have their numbers, so I don't know who did ask for a card game, but I didn't ask for a card game. And as far as the companions go, I don't use companions. I mean, I'm either in PvP, or I'm in a trial, or I'm doing an arena, all of which are useful companions for me. I don't need companions around the world when I quest solo. I just don't need them. My builds don't require it. So what I really need them to do is work on performance, game performance. So let's take a look here. This guy, you see we got a steady, constant damage on him, Again, I'm not the best guy in rotation, the best player, and I don't have the best burn, but I can get the job done. I can kill players and kill pretty much any content without any real difficulty. However, as I'm going through this, the instance bugged out. What I mean is, it like the Minotaur, he just stops jumping after you change to each of these platforms. I'm going on, everything seems okay. I'm like, all right, we're gonna burn him down, no problem or whatnot. And he's still jumping right now. However, it gets to a point where he no longer jumps anymore. He just sits over there for like 2 minutes. Maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe about a minute and some change. But the point is, it greatly extended the time it took to do this because the instance isn't functioning properly. And that's kind of my complaint here. Like, out of everything that's going on, Zoss, I just didn't get it. Like, a card game and a more companions, even High Isle, I appreciate the dungeon, new gear sets and all that, but the game's functionality has severe issues. Like, I'm sitting over here, I'm waiting on this guy to jump over here. And it doesn't get real bad yet, but as this fight goes on, he delays more and more and more, to the point where he's just sitting there. Like, look at him. He's just throwing fireballs, chilling off in the distance, doing I don't know what, wasting time. And this is the time I have to damage him, right, on this island. So he's burned up my time. Then he comes over and he switches over, so I gotta change again. And then they're back up again channeling, so I gotta get some more interrupts on. Again, this isn't a difficult fight, but the state of the game, the stability of the game, I should say, really dragged this out. And more so than any type of Yu-Gi-Oh card game or any more NPCs walking around talking to me or whatever have you. And even honestly, two more dungeons and a couple more gear sets, even more so than all of that, I would appreciated them just saying, we're not going to do anything but focus on game stability. We're going to fix it so that people can PvP the way they want and PvE the way they want, and the game will be stable. I would have greatly appreciated that. Because to me, this just seems like they're juicing. I mean, you got this thing because I'm a ESO Plus member, so I'm going to get the update regardless, right? So I'm not complaining about that. It's just now there's more merchandise, more things in the store, right? So you can purchase. I appreciate new mounts, I do, new cosmetics, new looks, but there's so many things that I feel like personally they could have done besides doing this. Now, I've heard the statement made that, they can't release new animations and everything. You can't get a new class because it's going to be, new animations. You can't get new weapon lines, it's going to be new animations. When in reality, we know they have assets in the game that can do that. Like, someone else I was watching, a YouTuber, they were pointing out that as far as a monk class goes, you already have all of the assets for that, just from different abilities. The one in Somerset, you know, with the cats, the little wind monk who fights around in there, as well as the dungeon, right? The red petal. And I don't get, like I said, you don't have to add anything new to the game. There are animations that are already existing within the game that you could put there. Or even a weapon line set, right? An unarmed set or a different mag set, an unarmed set that could work for a stam or mag. I mean, what animation do you have to put there? Really, you don't let any weapons be in their hands. And it's like, if you took the time to add gameplay mechanics like a card game, and new dungeons, which have all kinds of mechanics involved in that, you know, new animations that are going to come with that the mobs are going to do, new mobs, you know, outfits and all that. You could have just saved all that, in my opinion. And mind you, I PvP as well as PvE. Granted, I do enjoy PvP more, but I think as for PvE as well, I think that would have been more beneficial for the stability of the game to work, and to you to get more customization options. Like, we don't have any cloaks in this game. You're, what, 7 years in on this game, and you guys still don't have cloaks? I mean, that's something that, like, and I get it could be an issue of clipping, but, I mean, you already have clipping in the game. There's already clipping in this game. So, I haven't heard any player complain about clipping at all. So, adding a cloak, and if the two-handed weapons or the staves equipped on your back clips with the cloak, that's not going to be a big thing. People would much appreciate the cloak. So I mean, I just feel like there was much more that could have been done instead of what they chose to do, the route they went. And I get that PvP is not a big part of the game for them because their biggest crowd is the PvE crowd. I get that. But these are things that would have been greatly appreciated in the PvE crowd. So again, as you see here, this mob is taking forever to jump across this thing. We still have instances. I was trying to queue up for a NKA run, and I couldn't get in because every time I tried to join in an instance with my raid team, I got kicked out. So I missed out on that. These are things that should be priority, that should be fixed. Like, you can't move forward with all this stuff. You say you can't add new stuff because the game, it can't handle the new stuff. And yet, you guys are sitting up there and you're adding new stuff and not fixing the game. The stability of the game is in grave question here. So, again, like I said, that was just my little rant, my little frustration here at a boss that would have taken me typically 5 minutes to defeat. But it took like 13 minutes, 14 minutes to defeat because he decided to wait every time I transferred to each of these platforms simply because it wouldn't move. So now you see I've regressed to just going to all 4 platforms because he's going to take his sweet time anyway, so it doesn't even matter. Look at it. He's just sitting up there looking at me throwing fireballs. He doesn't want to come over here. Doesn't want to do anything. I got nothing else better to do with my time. And by the time he gets over here, it's messed up. You know, he's invulnerable again. So I gotta wait all over again. It's a nightmare, honestly. And again, these are things that can be done within the system you have in the game that wouldn't have taken much effort. Like, you can't tell me using animation that you have in the game already and giving it to players would have been more work just to give them, you know, extra and maybe a skill, you know, a new class. That would have been a lot because you have to balance that. Fine, and give weapon skill. I mean, just another weapon skill line. We've got the same weapon skill lines we've had since launch. There's no pole arms, there's no unarmed, there's no one-handed swords. I mean, these are things that are paramount in any type of adventure game, right? If you go look at the Knights of old, like they got this Breton thing they're focusing on, the chivalrous knights, right? Knights in plate or whatnot. A lot of those guys are using one-handed swords. Most of your NPCs in this game are using one-handed swords. They don't have to either dual wield or have to use a sword and board. There's no viable one-handed sword option. There's no viable way that I can play unarmed. And it doesn't make sense to me. Again, I'm not a game designer, so I'm not going to try to claim to know their life. But I am a consumer, and I'm one who has been with this game for a very long time and have played for a while. And I can tell you, after yesterday's reveal, I was left wondering. No, I'm still going to play. I'm not making any statements like that. It's just I was wondering about the direction they're headed with this. Like, because this seems like kind of like a year off without really saying you're taking a year off, which is fine. But as I said, if you were going to take a year off, then you should have vocalized that. You should have communicated that with the community. We're not doing anything this year because we need to focus on fixing our game, period. And I mean, you got the acquisition from Microsoft, so you got that Microsoft muscle behind you. Now they did tell us that they're, doing the server architecture, which is great because your servers are 7 years old. So, but again, none of that was mentioned in this reveal. That should have been one of the main things that they talked about, but it wasn't. They didn't even mention it. They didn't mention server stability at all in the reveal. Now maybe they did in the after, the after event chat thing that they had, with Gina and the rest of them. I didn't really watch all of that. However, I tuned into the main event, and when I saw the main event, I was just left with more questions than I was with answers. Don't mind the study on the Bretons. I think that's pretty cool. Don't mind a new zone. I think that's great. Don't mind the dungeons. That's cool too, with the new gear sets. I'm like, I don't know, man. All of that, when you really could have done something so much more simpler, and in my opinion, appease a lot more people. Now, I don't have access to their data, their metrics, so maybe they are getting a ton of questions about, we want more companions and we want a card game. I just know I play with people every day, and I never heard nobody ask for that. I've never seen that, but that's subjective. That's my own experience, so it doesn't necessarily mean it's true. And if you're someone who plays the game and that has not been your experience, please feel free in the comment section to leave a remark and let me know. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that there are people who are begging for a Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh card game, that are begging for more companions, on a massive scale, right? That this is what the masses want over stability, over a new weapon line, over a new class. Please feel free to let me know, because I'm watching this. As you see, I'm playing this here. This to me is unacceptable. This is a huge drain on my time. I'm sitting up here, I'm making a video, and I could have fought the animal again, and this Minotaur again, and then showed it without it bugged, but I wanted to bring this forward because I wanted people to see this is what reality is, and this is what we're dealing with. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you. Take care till next time.